appeared to after the resurrection.
Girls got clout!
I was a founder of the Christian faith, and I was known for my ability, in times of difficulty, to be able to turn the hearts of the apostles towards the good.
The good!
So good.
Some people say I was a prostitute.
Horrible people!
Others say Jesus was my husband.
Feminatic crazies!
Right. I was not a prostitute.
You tell them!
I was an unmarried woman in a town of ill repute.
Ew! Repute!
And also, I was not the wife of Jesus.
Still love ya!
But I am pretty sure I was his best friend. We shared an intimacy that I cannot put into words except to say we saw into each other's hearts and were in love with what we found.
Love!
I also knew Judas Iscariot very well.
Gangsta!
Of the 12 apostles, he was the most moody and the most impetuous, and yet he was my favorite.
Tupac!
And in some ways, I think he was Jesus' favorite too. Judas was almost an alter ego to Jesus. He was the shadow to Jesus' light, the sour to the sweet, the cool to the warm. They would often take walks together, more often than not arguing. Nobody could get a rise out of Jesus like Judas could. I can remember times Jesus would emerge from an argument with Judas, positively furious, head shaking wildly, snorting, clicking his teeth, red-faced with exasperation. And he would tell me all about it, still agitated. But inevitably, he would end up staring into space, sighing, smiling. I think that if someone were to say that Judas was good for Jesus, they would not be mistaken.
Not mistaken.
When I think of Judas, my heart breaks.
But, Mary Mags, if we are all eternal and human life is only the first mile in a billion, do you honestly believe that God could abandon anyone so soon in the journey?
I don't know. Jesus never talks about it. That's how I know. His heart hurts worse than mine.
Next witness!
Defense call Sigmund Freud, Your Honor. Name?
Dr. Sigmund Freud.
Thanks. Dr. Freud, would it be accurate to say you qualify as an expert in the field of modern psychiatry?
Friday, 8 a.m. on psychiatry.
Objection! Witness is boasting!
Overruled.
Boaster, Your Eminence, it is quite distasteful, really.
Sit down, Alpha.
I lunge to obey you, but let the record reflect the prosecution has grave reservations on this man's alleged so-called standing as a psychiatric expert.
Perhaps a quick jaunt down to London for leisurely perusal of the standard edition of the complete psychological works, the Sigmund Freud volumes 1 to 24, with such a minded ease.
Perhaps it would if it were in color.
Dr. Freud, you are in fact the founder of psychoanalysis, correct?
I am.
You maintained a private practice in neuropathology for nearly half a century, is that not so?
It is.
You were featured on the cover of Time magazine in an issue dedicated to the greatest minds of the 20th century.
I was.
Dr. Freud, are you familiar with the case history of one Judas Iscariot?
Most certainly.
In your expert opinion, Dr. Freud, can a suicide victim be pre-certified as psychotic?
Without question. A man's instinct for self-preservation is his most subtle and effective instinct. When that muscle fails, it is because the mind has failed. A decision to take one's own life can only be precipitated by a failure of the mind. In a rational rebellion of man's most basic instinct to live and endure. Therefore, yes, a victim of suicide can indeed be pre-certified as psychotic.
Was Judas Iscariot a psychotic?
No, certainly.
And are psychotics responsible for their actions?
No, they are not. Say, for instance, I have a bad bout of influenza, and as a result of my influenza, I sneeze rudely, but involuntarily, in your face. The next morning you wake up with the same flu. Did I cause your flu? No. My flu caused your flu. I simply sneezed because I was sick.
Dr. Freud, in your expert opinion, does Judas Iscariot belong in hell?
No, he does not.
Explain.
Suicide is a direct sign of mental illness.
But did he become mentally ill after allegedly betraying Jesus of Nazareth, or was he mentally ill to begin with?
Free from grand, yes. You must understand, normal people do not kill themselves, even under extreme duress.
And what would you say to the people who would say that Judas brought about his own mental illness by betraying Jesus of Nazareth and getting him crucified?
I would say this. Number one cannot simply conjure or bring about mental illness. Number two, any god that punishes the mentally ill is not a god worth worshipping. Number three, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The one who could have prevented this was Jesus, not Judas. He chose not.
But isn't Judas responsible for what he did because he did what he did out of his own free will?
Fräulein, I once had a suicidal patient jump through my 4th floor window to her death. She exercised her free will. Did I bid her state for the broken plate glass? Of course not. My friend Winston Churchill, who gave me safe haven from the Nazis in 1938, said this: "The price of greatness is responsibility, and I am a firm believer of taking responsibility. And so, after the woman's unfortunate death, I took responsibility for my greatness, and I moved my offices to the 1st floor. So God would have done the same."
Thank you, Dr. Freud.
Yes, Dr. Freud, I'm so sorry for the mix-up before.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so, Doctor, I must say I am intimidated to be in the midst of such greatness. After all, you are a genius, correct?
Correct.
An expert?
Yes.
A big brain.
Unequivocally.
No, yes, unequivocally. Yes, nice word. It just rolls off your tongue so effortlessly. I must say I am quite a little tired, are we, Doctor? Perhaps a kilo or two of fine-grade Bolivian flake would restore your pet.
Excuse me?
Cocaine, Doctor! She don't laugh, does she, Doc?
But
Over a 12-year span, you consumed cocaine in what can only be categorized as prodigiously massive quantities, correct?
as a part of my research, yes.
Research, yes! And after 12 years of round-the-clock research, you came to the conclusion that ingesting staggering amounts of cocaine through your nose was perhaps a bit, I don't know, unhealthy?
I was trying to discern its medicinal value.
Oh my, is that your real nose, Dr. Freud?
Right!
Oh yes, Freud! I made a you slip, didn't I? Anyway, last question, Mr. Expert Genius, Dr. Freud. You were an avowed atheist all your life, correct?
Correct.
And then you died and figured out what?
I experienced anti-Semitism as a child. It prejudiced me against all religion.
Einstein experienced prejudice, but he wasn't wrong like you, was he? My cousin McGee can't count to 10 without drooling, but he wasn't wrong like you either, was he?
Face and intelligence are two distinct things.
Huh, really, Dr. Freud? Because I would say you can't have one without the other. But I'm not a brilliant, genius doctor, am I?
I had a wonderful and vibrant mind, and my intellectual curiosity was boundless.
Good day, doctor. Go, blow your nose. You're excused.
Dr. Freud, do sane people commit suicide? Yes
No.
or no?
No, they do not. But I can sometimes be tempted to murder.
Huh, go murder an eight-ball egghead.
That's enough! Next witness!
Most irresistibly alluring majesty, prosecution now calls to the stand legendary Hawaiian singer and popular entertainer Don Ho to the stand! Yes!
Don Ho's not dead!
Oh. Well, thank goodness for that, everybody. Yes. In that case, prosecution now calls Caiaphas the other, high priest of the Sanhedrin to the stand.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this time I must excuse myself from these proceedings until said witness has concluded testimony. Before his ascension into the lap of the Lord, Caiaphas the Elder and I were partners in a successful chain of kosher pizza parlors in East Purgatory. For that reason, I must step down. Bailiff! Put this on and adjudicate. Pronto. Proceed.
Fabiana, can I borrow a pen?
Only if I can shove it through your eye.
Oh, Fabiana! How can I prove my sincerity to you? Even though you are always here and I am always here. I think of you when you aren't here, even though you are always here.
Next witness, please!
Oh, yes! I obey! Later we shall discuss. So, Julius Zivailov, correct?
Yeah,
May I call you Julius?
alright.
How about Jules?
Okay.
So, tell me, Jay, shall we commence?
That'd be good.
Wise Jay, prosecution calls Caiaphas the Elder. Yes, Caiaphas the Elder. Hello to you. Hello. Shalom, as it were. Shalom. Yes. Well, perhaps you can clear this up. Is there a Caiaphas the Younger?
No.
And yet you are the elder?
Yes.
I see. Yes, my cousin Amjad Baba now owes me $5. Well, anyway, Caiaphas the Elder. It is said in the Bible that Judas Iscariot made an approach to you, a dark and nefarious approach to offer up the location of Jesus Christ, to in fact turn him into you and the authorities, correct?
Correct.
Are you saying, Caiaphas the Elder, that it was Judas Iscariot who approached you?
Yes.
Because I saw a movie once, Caiaphas the Elder, where it was you who approached him.
No, it was Judas Iscariot who approached me at the temple, not the other way around.
Yes, and even though your statement is indeed confirmed by all 4 Gospels, I must ask again, did you approach Judas Iscariot about betraying his leader and Messiah, Jesus of Nazareth?
I did not.
Why not? Jesus was a big headache to you know. You were legitimately concerned that the hijinks of Jesus would lead to an uprising and the crushing resulting Roman massacre of your people in retribution, weren't you?
I was.
So why not reach out and touch someone?
Are you asking me why I didn't approach one of the apostles initially?
Yes.
I didn't think it would work.
Why not?
There is an old rabbinical saying that says, "Let them kill you, but do not cross the line." During my 18-year reign as head of the Sanhedrin and guardian of the temple, I have dealt with countless messiahs, zealots, rebels, and fanatical believers. My experience in these have taught me they get killed, yes, but as a rule, they do not cross the line.
Yes, cross the line. This means what?
To betray your ideals, your conscience, or the law.
Judas crossed that line, though, didn't he?
He did.
He betrayed the ideal in betraying Jesus, the rabbinical ideal. Judas crossed the line.
Yes.
Do you admire that?
No, I do not.
Why not, Caiaphas the Elder? We all cross the line sometimes, don't we?
We are all capable of crossing the line. Thankfully, we do not all do it.
But really, Caiaphas the Elder, what's the big deal? You cross the line, you just draw yourself another one, correct?
No, not correct.
Can you explain?
The line comes from God, doesn't it? It is given. We do not create it. Thus, it is not ours to modify. It is ours to obey or betray.
I see. When Pontius Pilate first arrived in Judea, he visited you at the temple, did he not?
He did.
And as a show of his force and might, he attempted to place symbols of Rome in your temple, which was to your people a great desecration of your holy place of worship, correct?
Correct.
It would have constituted a worshipping of false idols, yes?
Yes.
When you saw Pontius Pilate attempting this, what did you do?
I told him you must remove the pagan symbols.
And what did he say to that?
I believe the gist of his reply was, "What are you going to do about it, Curly?"
And what did you do?
I knelt before
And
him.
begged for mercy?
No.
Groveled for forgiveness?
No! I removed my headdress, bared my throat to him, and bade him slit it.
In other words, Caiaphas the Elder, you let him kill you, but you did not cross the line.
I guess so,
You
yes.
did not cross the line!
I did not!
Judas crossed the line, though, didn't he?
He did.
And, by the way, what was the result of your standoff with Pilate regarding the sanctity of the temple?
Pilate backed off.
He didn't place the pagan symbols in your temple, did he?
No.
You held the line.
Yes.
Your integrity weakened him, yes?
I have no response to that.
As well you shouldn't! Anyway, last question, Caiaphas the other. In Western culture, it is said that the most prized virtue is honesty. But in Eastern culture, which would include Judea at the time, in Eastern culture, it is said that the most prized virtue is and was loyalty. Do you agree with the said hypothesis?
Council, there are 613 sacred laws in our Torah. Complying with these laws requires honesty and loyalty. But the most important requirement of the law is obedience to it. That is what is most prized.
Yes, I understand, but in your frank opinion, Caiaphas the elder, was Judas Iscariot loyal?
Obviously not.
Was he honest?
No.
Caiaphas the elder, was Judas Iscariot, I don't know, obedient?
To his own wills and desires, I believe that he was.
And to serve those wills and those desires, Judas crossed the line, didn't he?
He served a necessary purpose, but as a fellow Jew, I confess he disgusted me.
I see, yes. Well, I thank you for your expert testimony. Shukran! And may I add, you are much more handsome in real life than portrayed on the silver screen.
High priest of the Sanhedrin. That was an extremely powerful and prestigious position in Judea, was it not?
Correct?
In fact, other than King Herod himself and the Roman governor, high priest was in actuality the most powerful position in Judea, was it not?
Yes.
Caiaphas, I'll ask that you look me in the eye when you respond to a question.
My job was an important one. As high priest, I maintained the sacred laws, the safety of the populace, and our tradition.
Caiaphas, is there a reason you won't meet my gaze, or is ignoring women simply another component of the tradition you were charged to uphold?
Wait! Objection, Your Honor! The defense counsel is aware she's a juicy pulchritudinous dish, and yet the witness is being paraded for merely avoiding the salacious temptations of her personhood. I move to censure, really.
I withdraw the question.
Sassy Vixen, you are warned!
Hey!
Yes, forgive me. Sorry. Yes.
Caiaphas, you stated to the prosecution that Judas crossed the line and that he disgusted you, correct?
Correct.
Then maybe you can clear something up, because I'm a little confused. Judas handed Jesus over to you, correct?
He did?
And then you handed Jesus over to Pontius Pilate, right?
Yes.
So, what exactly is the difference between what you did and what Judas did? Because, unless I'm missing something here, I fail to see it.
Between me and Judas, big difference.
Caiaphas, you were a rabbi and a Jew. Jesus was a rabbi and a Jew, was it not? Crossing the line for one rabbi to hand another rabbi over to certain death, killed by pagans.
Jesus was a blaspheming, seditious rabbi, and I did not know for sure he would be killed.
But the penalty of sedition was crucifixion, correct?
That was the Roman charge, not mine.
Right. Your penalty was blasphemy, right? What was the penalty for blasphemy, Caiaphas?
Your Honor, I will not sit here and be blamed for the death of Christ yet again.
No one is blaming you for the death of Christ, Caiaphas. I'm simply asking you a question which I am directing you to now answer before this court. You charged Jesus with blasphemy. What was the penalty for blasphemy, Caiaphas?
Stoning, followed by hanging.
So how can you sit there and pretend you didn't know that Jesus was going to be killed?
Jesus could have easily saved himself
Save himself how?
by retracting his blasphemous claims. Our Torah has 613 sacred laws, and I can't even count how many Jesus broke or treated with wanton disregard and disdain. He broke the laws that came from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He violated the words of God. He violated the laws of Moses. He consorted with the unclean, the women, and the prostitutes. He performed miracles on the Sabbath. He proclaimed himself Messiah. He forgave sin. Who was he to forgive sin? Only God can do that. If that's not crossing the line, then I don't know what is.
And yet, Judas, who came forward in the face of this great threat, is considered in your eyes not a patriot, but a traitor. A traitor who, in your words, disgusted you. Why is that, Caiaphas?
Because he handed Jesus over for money.
What did you hand Jesus over for, Caiaphas?
The words and deeds of Jesus were leading towards a rebellion. And the price of rebellion under Roman rule would be a bloodbath, a massacre, counselor. So I determined it were better to have one man dead than 1,000. That's why.
I see. So you were looking after the common Jewish man, correct?
I was.
Were you a common Jewish man, Caiaphas?
In the eyes of God, we are all the same.
How about in the eyes of the common Jewish man? You were considered an aristocrat, weren't you?
I came from wealth.
Would you say you were popular with the common Jewish man?
My job was a sacred one, not a popularity contest.
The high temple taxes you inflicted on your people, would you say that made you more popular or less popular with the common Jewish man?
Objection, Your Honor! Vixen is badgering!
Sustained. The exchange rates at your temple were also extremely unfavorable to the common Jewish man, and the purification pools outside the temple, where the common Jewish man was required by law to be cleansed before being allowed to enter, the purification pools weren't free either, were they, Caiaphas? Cunningham.
No, I'll answer. The laws were the laws, and the rates were the rates.
And did you have a sliding scale for the poor?
No.
So the poor, who constituted a large percentage of the common Jewish man at the time, remained impure and unclean and were denied the right of worship.
You made your point.
No, I don't think I have, Caiaphas. Your position did not require you to be popular with the common Jewish man.
My job required me to answer to God.
Did God appoint you high priest of the Sanhedrin?
It was with God's blessing.
It was with Rome's blessing, Caiaphas. You were appointed by Rome. And at the end of the day, for the 18 years you served, that's who you had to answer to, and that's who you were required to be popular with. And the moment you showed Rome you couldn't handle your own people was the day you'd have been thrown out on the street. Isn't that true, Caiaphas?
I belong to God, not Rome. My job was to uphold the 613 sacred laws and to protect my people and my temple. And that's what I did.
And was Jesus not one of your people, Caiaphas? Whether he was a god or a prophet or a holy man or a crazy man, was he not one of your own? And is it not the height of treachery to betray Jewish blood to be oppressor? Come on, Caiaphas, tell us that it didn't prick your conscience to turn Jesus, a fellow Jew, over to the Romans. Tell us that handing a fellow rabbi over to his certain death did not violate your sense of crossing the line and knowledge of the law. Tell us, Caiaphas, that at the end of the day, there was a difference between what you did and what Judas did in the eyes of God. This is purgatory, Caiaphas. We've got all day.
In terms of result, I suppose no difference.
How about in terms of follow-through? Judas tried to return the silver and recanted, correct?
He did.
And did you, Caiaphas, do anything to prevent Jesus' death?
No.
And therein lies the difference between you and Judas'